My M27, F27, got raped and wants to keep the baby. I want to break up with her. My girlfriend has massive insecurities and depression. We decided it was best she not work and focus on her mental care while I could look after us both financially. One of her biggest coping mechanisms is her belief in God. She is a Christian and prays a lot. She is not the far-end types which don't have premarital sex, nothing wrong with that. 2 months ago while my girlfriend was running for some groceries she got raped. I consoled her and became her anchor through the time. However, she got pregnant. It is not my child because I broke my hand and have not indulged in intercourse with her since. So, we are 100% sure it is the rapist's. At first I told her we should abort and she agreed. She then talked to her pastor who told her the baby was not at fault and now she is adamant to keep it. I am 100% sure that I do not want to be raising another child, especially a rapist's child. I told her if she does it we are done. She got emotional and tried to rope into a fantasy of being a father to this child. I told her no, it's the baby or me, and after lots of consideration she is choosing the baby. She is living with me rent-free and also on my insurance. I told her I would be taking both those things away, but she questioned how much I loved her. If it's in America and you keep paying for her, she could technically try and sue and say that you took a fatherly role in the child's life and force you to pay child support. Remove her from everything and stop paying, or you can be roped into being considered the legal father to this baby. I get people saying empathy and all that, but the law and courts don't give one single fuck about empathy. Leave. Do a clean break. She can move back home and her parents can help her or whatever. Either way, it's not your problem to deal with. If she wants to keep this baby, she needs to start working and making money for herself and this kid. Then she should pack her bags. Not your fault, but it's her body and you may not agree with her decision. But it's her body and her call. What a terrible situation. You have my sympathy. If you don't want to be a father, you have every right to leave. She has every right to keep the baby and raise it, but accept the fact that you don't want to raise it, so your relationship has to end. You should ask her to move out and find a solution to the insurance problem. Maybe both of you should see a therapist on how to approach this situation. She needs to find a job and a house, and she will need help and support as well. So does she have a support system behind her other than you? Friends and family? This is way above Reddit's pay grade. My advice? See a therapist. It's understandable that you wouldn't want to help raise a reminder of your GFS rape, but you should break up with her now. Hanging around will probably just give her hope that you're willing to be a father to this child. End the relationship. The worst thing you can do is stay with her out of guilt and be an unsuccessful parent to this kid. She will feel the lack of love. Do not go through with it. Ask your girlfriend to start calling up her support network, friends, family, so she can find other accommodation and move out. Don't be an ass. Give her time, but observe formal eviction procedures. If she lives there, she does have rights whether she pays or not. Do not attempt to reconcile. It will be bad for everybody involved, especially the baby. Remove her from your insurance ASAP. They can use that as you taking responsibility to the child and she ropes you for 18 years. If you're the only one on the lease, get a written notice of eviction. If she can't get evicted, talk to your landlord about breaking the lease. Rather fork couple grand now than hundreds of thousands over 18 years. Leave. At first I told her we should abort and she agreed. Not your choice. I am 100% sure that I do not want to be raising another child, especially a rapist's child. I told her if she does it we are done. Fair enough, you're entitled to that opinion. I told her no, it's the baby or me, and after lots of consideration she is choosing the baby. Break up. If she's determined to raise this baby and she doesn't have your support, she needs to start looking into women's shelters or talk to her pastor about places she can go to for help. Has she considered adoption? That would address religious concerns about abortion and you wouldn't have to raise someone else's child. You should discuss this with a lawyer and find out what your legal options are to avoid being considered the father. What advice do you want? This sounds awful. And you don't really pose a question. It sounds like you've decided. I can't believe I'm not seeing suggestions for therapy. Your girlfriend went through a massive trauma and got manipulated by a religious authority into keeping the baby out of guilt. She is still early enough along that she has time to terminate after entangling her feelings about all this. Whatever you decide to do, please encourage her to speak to a secular therapist, or you can go together. If she still wants to keep it, then I completely support you walking away, but given the fact that she originally agreed to abort, She may ultimately make that choice if she is able to process her trauma with someone who doesn't have a religious agenda. That is completely okay. You can not want to raise the child. It's also okay that she does. Neither of you are in the wrong. From a legal standpoint, make sure you don't make any references to raising this child with her. Don't buy anything for the child. That way there's no claim that you intend to support her. Split long before the baby comes. She is living with me rent-free and also on my insurance. I told her I would be taking both those things away, but she questioned how much I loved her. You should in turn ask her how much she loved you if she's forcing you into a role you don't want to be in. Maybe get in touch with GF's family and tell them what's happening. Or at the very least the pastor, if you think you can be firm and keep a hold onto your emotions, and firmly tell him that you're leaving girlfriend and how he can help her. What is the question? If you want to break up with her, break up with her. Everything else is irrelevant. The pastor can take care of her and the baby. I mean, she chose the baby over you. The relationship is over. It's time she moves out and begins her life as a single mom. If you're in the US, she can get Medicaid to pay for the pregnancy, delivery, so she doesn't need to be on your insurance anymore. What a horrible situation. Hopefully she finds the help and support she needs. Okay, she is red flag city. Not working, mooching off you, claiming to work on her mental health. What exactly was she doing daily, proactively to work on it? I do not believe her story. Mostly the fact that she has so much free time while you're working and is all of a sudden pregnant. I would not stay involved. Drive her to whichever relative she wants and say adieu. She is being manipulative. You can love her to the moon and back and still have to say you can't mentally handle certain things such as raising the child of a rapist. Sit down with her. Let her know you love her and always will, but that you cannot deal with this child being in your life in any way, so you need her to move out within 30, or 60 as you're okay with that, days. And give her this in writing along with the date she needs to be out by, and that she would be removed from your insurance on that same date, so she has time to make other arrangements, but that you will not tolerate being manipulated or guilted in the meantime. That you wish her well but your futures are no longer compatible. That's a shit situation, but I'm with you on that one. I'd leave if it were me. No way I'd raise a rapist's child. In addition to everything said here, contact a lawyer, they'll be able to help you with this. In the end, it's not your responsibility. The baby and this whole trauma incident is just another issue in another incompatible relationship. Is she keeping it to give up for adoption or raising it? Just curious. I'm sorry, but I see both sides and you have every right to feel how you do. She's going to have a lot to recover from: rape, pregnancy, breakup, possible giving up the baby, and it sounds like you are already at your limit. Also, if she loses the baby, which is possible, do you want to be with her because she chose to keep it? Sounds like she had a lot going on before the rape and 2 months is not enough time to get over the rape. I'm sorry this is happening to you both. That pastor is human garbage, but she is an adult. You need to run. Give her a move-out date, and make sure she leaves soon so you're officially split up before the baby's born, in case she tries to make you pay for child support. Not judging you, but the question is valid: how much do you love her? From your post it sounds like you've already made up your mind. From what it sounds like, even if you stick around, you won't be much of a dad since it won't be yours that will have lasting, negative, impact on the child and on your so. I'd leave the relationship. Maybe give her 3-6 months to find something, get on her feet, and find other support, in addition to the church, but I would not lead her on by any means. Again, I am not judging you, you know what you want. Kids are a lifelong commitment, and if you are not ready to be a dad, then don't be there. I'd end things. This is something she needs support for, and if you can't be that, leaving her is the best thing you could do for her. People are entitled to their boundaries. It's okay for her to want to keep it, or blindly follow the pastor's commands. But it's also okay for you to not want to reward a rapist by raising his kid. I'm sorry to say, but she has made her decision, and now you have to take the right steps to ensure you protect yourself, but also to ensure that your now ex is fully prepared for what's to come. Stop paying for her, putting a roof over her head, and remove her from your insurance. Give her 2 weeks' notice in writing to leave your flat and stop her name on your insurance. Inform her that you have done it after it's complete, and do not allow any guilt to force you to do otherwise. Her current reality and future are completely disconnected, so it is better for her in the long run to see this now. What a situation. It's not her fault what happened to her, but it's also not your responsibility to look after her. I personally would leave 100%. There is no way I would raise another mon's child. especially if the child would forever remind me of that horrible thing that happened. You're gonna have to dump her and cut her off of everything immediately. This is terrible, but this was her choice and she needs to live with the consequences. You are within your right to leave and not be responsible for her. You should speak to an attorney too to ensure you're not on the hook for her and the child. Good luck op. Up to her if she wants to keep the baby, she's the one birthing them. However, I can completely understand not wanting to help raise the child. That can be a deeply uncomfortable situation since you know how they came to be and they will have physical characteristics of the rapist. I hope that it doesn't affect her negatively when raising the kid. Either way, sounds like you already know what you want to do. Sorry this all happened. If you sign the paternal papers they can fuck you, but right now you're safe. Just never sign the paternal papers. And did you ever go after the rapist? Because if you didn't, that's a big red flag. She might not have been raped, it could have just been a normal affair, and that's her way of trying to make you feel bad about what happened rather than upset she had an affair. At this point you are incompatible. You do not want this and that's okay. That's a huge thing to ask. You need to break up, get her out, and off your accounts. If she wants to keep the baby she can reach out to her family and her pastor for support. This is not your responsibility. Just know, you are doing the right thing. This is a fucked situation and you are just being smart about your future. I don't blame you man, I would dip out too. I think it would be best for you just to leave her because knowing myself I would probably hold resentment towards the child. I know it's not the child's fault, it's still a rapist's baby, how can I not be pissed off by that? Anyway, stay strong man, stand your ground and leave if she doesn't abort. It's not your responsibility to be father here. Split before you get caught up in being responsible for a kid that isn't yours. Although you may also want to mention to her that, abort it or keep it, are not her only options. She can also put the baby up for adoption. Not saying this to save your relationship, but she needs to at least consider it for herself. Well, I agree with your decision. You can dump anyone for any reason. Raising another monster-child is as good as any. Yeah, get out of there fast. Girl is a nut job, needs lots and lots of help. I would have told you to leave her even if it weren't for any rape or baby involved. Stop giving her money and remove her from everything you have. Sure, that'll be difficult for her, but necessary for you to not ruin your life. You don't need us to tell you what you know you need to do. It's time to tell her to leave. Can you cancel your current lease without her? In any case, consult a family law attorney to find out what your possibly liabilities are in this situation. Dude, leave. What will happen when the kid looks like the rapist and not her? If I were you, I would go. This will end up biting you in the ass. You are under no obligation here. Make sure you do not get roped into 25 years of child support. It isn't the child's fault for sure, but it is her decision and decisions have consequences. Although this situation is terrible, I do think the best option would be for her to have the child and put it up for adoption if she is open to that. What her pastor said is true about what happened not being the baby's fault, and even the rapist father wouldn't receive the death penalty if he were caught, so neither does the baby deserve to die for his crime. You are within your rights to leave if she decides to keep it, but I don't believe pushing her to have an abortion is the way. Ignore everything about the rape. That's not the problem here. The problem here is your girlfriend is making a big permanent life decision without your input or say-so. You can break up with her for that. Yes, it's awful that she got raped. But just because something bad happens to someone doesn't mean you aren't allowed to break up with them. Staying is not what you want to do. It will not magically get better if you stay. Not for you, or her. And definitely not for the baby. It's okay to break up with her. Really. Neither of you are wrong. But you are no longer compatible. Just leave. Is she willing to consider adoption? I admire her decision, but I do think she shouldn't rely on you given your feelings and if she won't give the baby away.